a win, and then I want to focus on collaborations that you've already created in here. So I want to celebrate some of those wins. Tanya, you just went off. Okay, eat in front of us. I'm just kidding. Um, so okay. I know Justine and Laura created a collaboration. So Justine, I don't know if you can come on camera, or Laura, and talk about what you two created together. Especially since today we're going into networking, and one of the most powerful ways to collapse time is through collaboration and connection and networking. And so I want to celebrate some of those wins you all have already created. So if you've created a connection or collaboration here in the Diva Network, raise your hand. Alora, yes, please share that. And you're muted. And Justine, can you come on camera, Justine?
Uh, so I love that Justine and I have, although I have it down like this is what I want to do, but I don't have it like we've done it like fully.
Okay,
So
so share one that you've done. I see in the
okay,
chat, Justine said I mixed it up with you. So
okay, good.
share one that you've actually done.
Well, Marita and I had a 3 hour conversation the other night, and she's coming to she's here in my area, so she's coming to an event I'm having this Thursday, and that's its own thing. And then then another thing we are talking about is me working with her and her husband, and so that's a beautiful thing. And I believe that Kim and Ed and I are talking tomorrow, both for me to get familiar with what they do and for them to talk about me working with them. So those are both two wonderful things. It
Awesome.
seems like there's something, well, then Nadia and I, Nadia and I are also talking about planning retreats in her area. So those are three big things, and I may be missing somebody, but that's a lot.
That's a lot for just a few short months, right? Okay, thank you, Alora. And Kim, as I bring you up on deck, and I'd like for you all to think about collaborations that you've already created here since you started, a collaboration win, or a way that you've given something to someone in the community, right? So a lot of times we think about what we've received in the community, but for a community to be real flow like and mutually nourishing long term, we're giving within the community as well. So I want you to think about that. And Kim, yes, let's hear it.
All right. I was on with Nora. She is not able to get on today because she actually works a full-time job and can jump on when she can, but she's bummed. I didn't think about her at first, but whenever we started talking about all the Africa influencers and all that stuff, she is from Africa and spent lived her whole life there, and then came here. She lives in Frisco, and she called me last night and she was just like, okay, tell me about this Diva Network, because she was on for 2 days and she's like, and I love it. This is what I've been missing. And she was like, and Adora is so awesome. And she loved the lady from yesterday. And so, but she said that she has been praying for something to come along where she doesn't have the financial means to like go do a mission trip or anything in Africa and just like do something major. So I showed her all the stuff that we were doing, and I told her about the kiva.org, and we got on it together, and she was like, my heart is so full right now. And she's just like, I've been praying for something to come along because my heart is in Africa. And she's going to go back and listen to all of those, the calls that we did with that beautiful one where we found Kiva. And it was just, I was like, you have to go listen to that one. And so she's excited. She's ready to do the incubation groups that we're going to have at the salon. And so she's ready.
Awesome. Kim, feel free to put us together on a WhatsApp chat because I can add her into the Africa announcements and the leadership things that are going on there. And that is powerful. Thank you so much, Kim. And I know you are part of the power team, the Ed and Kim Cross Team Elite, and that you lead a lot with heart and no one left behind, and how does everyone feel, and really, and so I love hearing how that showed up for you here, that she's been praying for something like that. And everybody is designed a certain way. And when you really lean into your leadership, we can all learn from the other parts. But when you lean into your leadership, there's a whole tribe of people that absolutely resonate, sing the same music. And then when we get us all in the room together and we can lean into each other, it's really powerful. So thank you for showing up and sharing that, Kim. Okay, Tanya.
I don't even know where to begin. Like, I feel like I've had so many connections and collaborations, and I feel like I haven't
One
even gotten.
moment, then, Tanya. If you don't know where to begin, JKN, let's note the time because this will be a testimonial. All right, let's go ahead. Tell us all the ways, count the ways, Tanya, that you've
It's
created.
just funny because I think sometimes we brush over it, and I think it's really important for us to anchor and ground with these kind of questions, especially on a Wednesday where we're connecting with other people. I feel like I want to connect with each individual person here in the group. I haven't made the time because there's been other priorities for me with health and taxes, like everyone knew that I've been going through this past week. So now, as I'm moving forward, I'll make it a point to reach out individually. I've had off Diva Network conversations with different people, with Jasmina. Nothing's come to fruition yet, and I always look at these things as yet, on her part or on my part. But I want to start out with Sheila. She's the first one that brought many of us to this community, and just Sheila is such an example. And I know you've mentioned her many times, but Sheila, you're just such a person that leads with heart, with giving, without any expectations. Look, I'm getting emotional with it, Sheila. We've known each other for a while before even NHI, but you're such an example of giving with your heart, never expecting anything in return, and just seeing your growth and in this last year, of just with Divas and our other groups that we've been together has just been amazing. So Sheila's given a lot to me, just giving from an emotional place, and I invite everyone to not look at it just from a business perspective, like, oh, how much money did I make with that transaction? It's more of just an energetic transaction, if we can put it from one place or other. So Sheila's been there. I've had several people on the podcast, from Christine to Holly to Dr. Andrea. I mean, Dr. Andrea, another amazing soul that we've been co-creating together on launching the Spanish division. And we're in the works of it. We're seeing how everything's going with the African one, so we can learn with that one. It's just everyone. I'm looking at Lynn Dimmitt, even though we're locals here in Santa Fe, I call her my wellness angel because she's always showing up when something is like broken, damaged, or something else is going on. And so Lynn, I saw her briefly because she's in Mexico now, but with her patches, and I know we're going to be doing some business with that because I do love your Lifeway patches. Like when my neck gets kinked, I keep going like this because that's what she gave me last time. Amazing too with Lynn. Justine, I briefly talked with Justine. We exchanged a couple texts in this last week, and I know there's going to be some collaboration. I already partnered her up with an intro email with Karine, another woman that's focused on perimenopause and menopause and period programs, bringing pads for girls. So I could go on, and I feel like I've just scratched the surface because I haven't had an opportunity, like I said, as I'm moving forward, I would love to have a conversation besides our networking groups individually with everyone else and see how I can support you guys in your business and vice versa, or in
This
life,
So wonderful, Tanya. So give it up for her because that was emotional and it was sharing. And I know, Justine, you raised your hand too, and we're going to dive into training in a moment. Sheila, I'll come right to you. I really want us to begin to celebrate these wins in the school community under wins, every collaboration or connection call that you have, because like you said, it's easy. It's the core conversation I believe we need to ground into. And as much as we are connected through social media, we can also be very disconnected. As much as we have many groups, I see Lorna looking lovely and nodding, right? We can have many groups and people can become like almost not people. They're just moving, right? You're just moving and your task and it's really important to me that even I myself, I'm rethinking community and I'm rethinking it not through my lens, through the lens of locking arms with Lorna, with DMA, with Carissa, with Sheila, with Jimmy, and how we rethink global connectivity, right? And how do we create a world together where community, where you each win, and you win in the vision that I say God, you say spirit, universe, whatever you want to put in there, a highest self, whatever that is. And the way it's going to happen is not just in those quick emotional highs, but it's going to happen over time and in breakdown and in communication and in commitment in journeying together. And one of the things that's going to help us stay connected to that is remembering all the ways we're connecting and that we're creating collaboration. It also builds that muscle, right? Like, if you've ever started a gratitude practice or you've, started some other practice, you presence it and you bring it forward, bring it forward, bring it forward, and a whole new neural pathway bridge is built in your brain, like a whole new bridge is built there. And so we want, women, one of the things I love about our opportunity is we naturally connect. We naturally, when we're left to our own devices, we naturally, in our purest, most authentic state, we naturally start putting people together, putting things together. I say, you know how stem cells go to whatever's broken and they just start, like women, we're like that. We really are like that. It's even proven our brains do more of the less compartmentalization and go into the emotional and the logic, the emotion and the logic, which means when it comes to praying with enthusiasm or doing any of those things, we're naturally built to get into that state because we can more easily connect the logic and the emotion together. So it's what's possible with empathy in community and empathy in business and connection is really outrageous, and we haven't even scratched that surface together yet. Like we're just starting. We haven't even started calling on each of your own leadership within this community, right? We got really busy with our visibility challenge and bringing you all the who's and the metrics and stuff, but we haven't even started to see what happens when you're sharing your expertise more fully in the group and each person finds the areas of leadership that they just really want to run. So I got on a little tangent there. Let's do two more quick shares and then we'll keep this dialogue around maximizing collaboration. Yeah, Sheila.
Well, hello, 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 my wonderful community. I wasn't planning on speaking, but of course, after Tanya, have my heart. And like when I speak about you, Adora, that it comes up because it means so much. And it really, on my journey where I am, it just comes naturally. And like you highlighted, Tanya, sometimes we don't really realize what impact we have. And it's not always talked about. So that's where I was finding challenges, getting the metrics with Brienne. It's like, I don't know, like, what does that have impact on? And when we come to this group together to to really recognize how much impact even the smallest, like I think about how I tell my children, like they don't feel empowered because they're children, but even how much a simple smile can just have a ripple effect on someone's day to go on and reflect into whoever else they interact with. So it can be such small things, but as we're bringing it together and bringing, you know, certain things maybe we've done as hobbies into a business, and especially when we're going into this flow, to make it more real, and how can we do this together and be successful in business as a lifestyle, or however you want to use it for yourself in your world, that it feels great. And that's why it comes easy to me, that I know I'm purely having a conversation because I do want to add value and impact, and I have true faith that all the other things are going full circle. And because we're in a group to help align us to that is even more so, because we're going to have the metrics. So thank you guys again, always, for being here, showing up, Adora and all the team, for like seeing this, like just the one seed Adora planted and I just watered like crazy, and to see what it's come to now, it's just so beautiful. So thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you, Sheila. Okay, Justine, collaboration win. What's a collaboration or connections you've created here in the community?
So, well, there are so many, as we all know. Being in person with Christmas and the gang, there's lots of things going on. Tanya, yes, connected me with somebody else. I'm going to do her podcast. I still have to fill out the form for that. And the reminder that I posted a sizzle reel from Africa. I finally got my son to send me the Vimeo. So that is on the Africa chain. And I'm so excited because one of the connections that came out of being at the event the other night was meeting a globetrotter by the name of Harold Lefty Williams, who is producing all kinds of stuff. He's super fired up to come and join us. So the collaborations are happening here, but as I always talk about, the ripple effects, you know, and so it's the impact. It's like those metrics. I'm starting to understand that a little bit more, that like the compounding of what we're doing here. And that I just wanted to point out, you know, is even reminding me to go back, like the sizzle reel was there. All I need to do is text my son and ask him for it. Right. And now I have this tool because this guy asked me for it. He can produce film, like, and then I thought, well, I got to share this with all of you because it's 3 minutes that explains what we did there. So anyway, I'm fired up, and it's helping me tap into my own resources by tapping into all of you. It's like we're this tree trunk, and now I'm really starting to feel the roots and the growth, and that's amazing. So thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. And what I love about that anybody watching the replay can take outside of what I hope that you're getting is that connection and collaboration. You're one connection away from the next breakthrough. 100% you are. It was one person that I met in a nightclub in my 20s, right after screaming out in that desperate optimism, you know, after breakdown, when you have that, like, okay, it's got to go up from here and I'll do anything. And you get those little pockets of rise, which, by the way, I think those are some of the most valuable pockets to act on. Like when you have that's if you take action and get some momentum, it can catch. But I remember yelling out that I wanted to interview successful people like Napoleon Hill. And it was one guy that I met in a club that randomly called me and said, hey, there's a job I had and it gave me a great skill set. I think you'd be great for it. And I was just so ready that I said yes. And that job was as a producer for Pat Summerall Productions on the Discovery Channel, where my name ran in the credits, and I learned the skills of not just connecting in a sweet Southern way, but in connecting with CEOs and being able to move and help decision makers see opportunity. That was one connection. And it was from a freaking nightclub, right? We got more going on than most nightclubs in here. Well, at least more that I want to be into, right? And we can still dance and get down. So the main takeaway is that, one, don't underestimate connection. Give and be in connection and do it consistently. Remember when Ashley came up and said the people who just drop in and give all their announcements of who they are, their cards, and then they leave, that's not connecting. We give and we receive. We human to human together, and we do it with intention, and you can create magic. Okay, Melanie, let's take your win of collaboration or connection. Yes, ma'am.
So I got two. I want to give a shout out to Michelle de Kaiser and Abigail, who I was actually in a meeting with before this meeting, and they are not here today because they are doing rippling. They're rippling today. They're in a meeting together right now.
Ripple it just a little bit. Okay, go ahead.
And the reason that I'm here is Michelle. Like I connected, talk about I connected with Michelle in the Lisa community. And then Michelle was the one that introduced me to Divas. And, I've like the connections that I've made with so many of you individually. Tanya, I love your idea of doing the individual connection because so many of us don't know who each other are. I just discovered that Christmas is literally my neighbor and she and I are going to get together. So that's a connection that I look forward to coming. But I really just wanted to celebrate them because I'm not going to go into the details of just with those two, how much I have gotten and they've given me and the help and the sharing. And I know that Michelle is doing her summit next week. And I was so touched when I saw her lineup. She reached out, she was bold. She asked you, Adora, she asked Brianna, she asked people from this community to come in and collaborate. And you guys said yes, right? And it's just sometimes a matter of asking, which is so amazing. And on the subject of God or universe or, so Abigail talks a lot about Jesus. I didn't grow up praying to Jesus or Jesus being my God, but the connection and collaboration is so strong. And I got a download last year. I knew I needed to go back to South Africa. I didn't know why. I didn't know when. I got a download. It was last October. I was in South Africa in November. I did some research that I needed to do. I had no idea. And I just left it to the universe. I was like, you'll direct me where I need to go, which is what needed to happen. And then literally this Tuesday morning, ended up having a meeting with Art and Sam, right? And Sam's bringing her mom in, and her mom works for something called Chrysalis Academy, the teenagers and young adults that they're tapping in there. I'm in a group with Lisa on her fundraising committee. A very small group of us. There's like under 10 of us in that group talking about motivating the teen spirit. And then Jimmy said, because we're talking about, okay, we want to do like a smaller retreat, but then also have the opportunity to make it like for people that want to go for longer. And then Jimmy typed in the chat and he said, well, let's do an escape trip. I'm like, oh my God, that would be perfect. So talking about connection and community is just like, I don't know, like I know that God has a plan, and for me, God guides our destiny. So
Wonderful.
thank you.
Wonderful. Give it up to Melanie. She's been glowing. And that's again the community. We've watched each other walk through taxes, moves, breakups, makeups, community, and it's all been in a very short time. But the thing is staying plugged in. Okay, Vanessa, last one, and then we'll talk local and we'll get into work. Yes, Vanessa.
Okay, I'll make it quick. Justine, oh my gosh, I've met her a couple of times now. I feel like we've known each other forever. And then me and her and Ed have met, so that's been great. Michelle, I've gone into her group that she's got. I've met some people over there, so that's been amazing. And Adora, I don't know if you know this or not, but I have a group in Dallas. When I lived in Dallas, I started a group called the Dallas Diva Network. It's a Facebook group.
Oh.
So I kind of, since I moved away and I'm in New Braunfels now, it's kind of gone downhill, but this group has given me the motivation to bring it back, and I'm going to make it a Texas group. So this is very encouraging for me. I'm excited.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is so awesome. And you can totally think through the co-branding and use it as a way, if you want, to invite more people into the network, to help set up local events. That's the perfect pivot into
Exactly. And I'm actually streaming this in the group. I've been streaming it for a couple weeks now.
Hi, Divas. Dallas Divas going Texas, going bigger, go home. No. So that brings up, as you're hearing, some people are starting to meet in person and do things in person. And that is the vision. It's that we do what our magic here online, that we start to build relationship and community together offline through our trips, through local meetups, through retreats, through things like that. But then even like Justine said, it ripples into your other communities. All of this ripples into your other communities. It actually multiplies your time. It multiplies, doesn't it? It's outrageous what happens when you're running together. So we're just going to go into a few things over community and how to build community and how to network and build collaboration. And so some of these things are basic, but again, so is gratitude. Gratitude is basic, right? But we need to be in the conversation. So we'll go back to Sheila as a great example of leading with service. So one of the reasons, and we give Sheila a lot of love, she's our sister, but what I love is that she is a single mom, server at Disney, no email list, no Facebook group, right? No big community. In lots of groups and certification processes, working her head off to make that happen, financially stretching herself, was showing up everywhere she could, trying to do the homework, asking for help, and wasn't being seen. And it wasn't really just clicking. I mean, not that people didn't love her. Obviously, Tanya, you knew her, people knew her. And then with us, she said she heard I was going to Orlando and said, Adora, can I help in Orlando if you need anything? And anyone who's been on our Diva sets now, Lorna, you've been on a few, you know, they are just, and it's like, mom, 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 there's no room. And if you've stayed, nothing happens on time. A shadow comes, an airplane comes, the something. So everything is kind of, Carissa's nodding her head off. Even when we schedule extra time, it's like there is someone always throws in a meeting. So having someone help you isn't actually very helpful, okay? Because it's another mouth to feed, another someone you've got to be really nice to when you might be in a hurry and you don't have time for hosting. Do you know what I mean? It's an extra thing. So I just said, no, thank you so much, Sheila. We have her. And she said, listen, if you need anything, if you need a driver, I'm very discreet. And Philip was already taking care of us, Carissa. So I was like, we have our drivers. We don't need anything. And then Sheila came back and said, I'm very discreet. I've been in the hospitality industry for 18 years. If I can help you in any way with anything. And so Christine just messaged me, we still need a restaurant for XYZ day. We still need a sponsor for blah, blah. So I was like, you know what? This girl is relentless. Here, we need a sponsor. Within 30 minutes, she had business cards of restaurants that she walked into, and she not only set up a financial sponsor that we're going to stay in his house in Orlando coming up. He does these really cool theme homes. But she set up a monster truck excursion for us in one of our pockets with animals and stuff. So from 1 week of not knowing Sheila, then Sheila not only earned a commission, but her and her children were on set and part of the episode with the monster truck scene, with Jeff Hoffman, and Sheila just kept doing that. I will serve. I will serve. And there have been times when I've been busy and I've said something in a stern way to Sheila, and I'm like, Sheila, I apologize. She's like, honey, save that yellow stuff for somebody else. I got you. I don't need your loving up right now. Just do what you've got to do. And so she's been very easy to work with. And many of you know that what started happening after that is other people she started using that leverage of, I know the divas. Do you want to know the divas? We have this event. So she still didn't make it about herself. She still went, you're awesome, they're awesome, let's connect you. You're awesome, they're awesome, like some version of that, right? And has become one of the top affiliates who's earned the most commission here, has become someone that is invited into multiple rooms. And now everybody's like, how do I get Sheila on my team? Because that woman is super connected. And I think that that is so beautiful because it takes away any excuse, right? Like there is no excuse when you think about, well, I don't have an email list. Well, I don't have the same authority. Well, I don't, I'm a single mom. I'm busy. I'm working a lot of jobs. It just takes it all away, and it's very service oriented. And so, Carissa, as I bring you up, I'm presencing that because that same heart is what, if you go into an interaction with someone in a room or in the grocery store, but especially because we do these networking rooms and collaboration rooms, if you go in meeting a human to human and thinking, how can I serve? What are they really saying right now? What do they really want or need right now? What do I have? Who do I know? How can I help? Versus like, blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you how to say that better. Maybe that's helpful, right? Or listen, no, I don't know anything. I'm like, okay, what if I really was going to serve here? How could I serve? What if I really didn't? Do I know someone? And it takes a little bit of practice, right? Because most of the time you're nervous about, am I going to get what I came for in my circle? Will people see what I'm trying to say here? But as that generosity starts to flow, it always, always, always comes back. It may not come back from the exact same person. It may not even come from this community. Sometimes because it's an energy, it's a way of being, and it attracts in generosity back. It's very powerful. Carissa.
So I had to chime in and echo Adora on Sheila, because when I first met Sheila in Orlando, we were in Orlando and it was really crazy. And Sheila just literally came in like a wrecking ball, like handling stuff. And I'm like, who is this chick? Like, I don't even know her. Is she a part of our team? What is going on? And she was just very sweet, but she was literally just handling everything that was coming at us. And she was such a tremendous help. And Sheila has continued to be just a tremendous help. And everybody like on our dining empire team, we're like, we need a Sheila. Sheila, I need a you for my beauty company. I cannot take you because Adora will absolutely murder me in my sleep, but I need somebody like a Sheila. And no, I mean, she's just awesome. It's no matter where we are in the country, Sheila's always willing to just, jump in, lend a helping hand. And I think that just goes such a long way, for her and for everybody when you're
Well,
just
Carissa, let's talk
genuinely.
about you for a moment, though, because now we have two examples. Because I want you
What
all.
I do?
Well, I'm going to talk about you for a second, but I want to talk about two examples. So we have an example of, because this is true at whatever level you are, right? Whatever level you are, if you want to level up to another level, go serve some people, serve your
Yeah.
clients, serve high level connections, your next stretch of who could I serve to get better proximity. I've served my way into proximity with the Napoleon Hill Foundation, Dennis Waitley, Les Brown, Lisa Nichols, many, because those were my heroes and the people I wanted to have proximity. And it collapses time. If you go with service, instead of see me, pick me, I've loved you my whole life and I'm your super student, I'm your protege, I'm taking your place, tell me like if you either serve by paying, put money in their bank and pay for their time, or figure out what it is that they really want and get in there and serve. So Carissa, you were already living a successful business career. You had closed up a chapter, but got your investments kind of in line and kind of what's next for me? And then you come on this Diva cruise and you start collaborating, connecting, became an investor in the company, also started just enjoying these different connections that through those connections, you ended up becoming a diva for Florida, a destination diva. But I want you to talk about by collaborating with a big brand, right? Because you all can use the Diva Network, the podcast, the media exposure in a similar way. What opened in your life starting to show up as this? Yeah.
Girl, that's a loaded question. No, just so much greatness. Being associated with the divas. I mean, number one, I loved Christine. I loved what the shows were doing and how they were highlighting, other people and just lifting them up and just collaborating together. And that's something that I've always looked for. And when I lived in North Carolina, I actually moved to Florida probably about almost 3 years ago now. But I couldn't find this. I couldn't find people like this in North Carolina. I looked high, low. I'm telling you, every single networking organization score, because I was sat on their board of directors and they help to build business owners. It's free mentorships. And like, I literally still could not. So I'm like, I need a mastermind group. Like, I need people in my corner that we can support each other and come together. And I still couldn't find it. So coming to Florida was one of the best things. And becoming a part of the dining empire. And for me, at first, I didn't know how to leverage this network. And because and sometimes I think in my past, when other people say, okay, leverage is taking advantage of people, which this is absolutely not. So for me, I was always coming in of how can I help? How can I help? Christine, what can I do? What do you need? Oh, if I know this person, I'll connect you. And then somebody, I think it was maybe on a Diva Network call. And, we talked about leveraging our connections and what we can do and our resources. And so, once I learned this whole industry and production and things like that, I said, okay, how do I leverage this? Now I understand what this means. Now I understand what leveraging means. And so it's just been, I mean,
How
phenomenal.
are a
Like
few
just
ways that you leveraged it before we go into networking?
oh,
Or we
okay.
run?
So
Yeah.
ways that
So
I
people
have
get an idea,
leveraged.
because I want you to think of this with leveraging your association with the Diva Network, your association with any of the major speakers you've met here yet, you're being
Okay.
on the podcast with these major speakers, leveraging that you're going to be on Audible or iHeartRadio when that comes up, like the leveraging, because you can use this frame and
Mhm.
go ahead, go, Carissa. So what
Sure.
were the ways you leverage?
So some of the ways leveraging this is one, I will be, helping tremendously with our Africa episode. So, meeting different people here within the Diva Network. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, they know Africa. I don't. I have, all these great things. So just meeting ladies here. And when I would come onto the calls, and somehow I'd always end up with a room with people that had connections in Africa. And I'm like, yes, thank you so much, because I know nothing about that continent or anything about it. So, leveraging the relationships here to help us, with our episodes in Africa. And that's also, turned into Diva Network launching in Africa. Some other things is being able to leverage this network, especially with my new beauty company coming out, and just being able to get the word out there. And for me, it's important because this is a big project for me. I've done major projects, but this is a major project. And so being in a community where I feel safe and comfortable to talk about this and say, hey, can I get some feedback? Or hey, and just be my authentic self. So being able to leverage all the brains in this room, and then the comfort as well to say, okay, hey, did I screw that up? What's happening here? So that's, leveraging in that from that way. And then just the shows, as we're thinking and we're creating different episodes and we're listening to the people talk here on the Diva Network, I'm like, hey, let me reach out to that person, that they might have a great idea for this, or help, how can they help? Or maybe they can give me some more ideas. So several different ways.
Beautiful, Carissa. So she's launching her beauty company, and already within this network has had multiple conversations from relationships that we have here. So did that bring up in your mind ideas for yourself and how you can leverage anything new? I want to bring one more kind of leverage point. So, and Sheila used it. Carissa uses it whether she knows it or not. And we've watched her bloom too. Like, and what do I wear? How to wear? We're about to be on camera. Now we're going to be on this pink carpet, this, red carpet, pink carpet if it's in Texas, or with the Diva Network. But whenever I got the opportunity to work for Pat Summerall Productions, the leverage was, hey, I'm calling from Pat Summerall Productions. That's huge, right? Totally changes the whole thing. Whenever I say I'm doing an event or with Les Brown or with Lisa Nichols, right? That's an borrowed kind of credibility. It already sets apart some different things. So the same thing, whenever you get the opportunity to speak on an event, or you, Justine, you've leveraged the network right into being a California diva. You're one of the California divas, right? But being able to say, I'm in rooms, I'm part of a network I'm really good friends with. I work regularly with TV hosts, TV producers. They're on Google, Apple Prime. So it's really about whenever by association, I mean, just think about your own kids. How many of you have children? Yes. So what happens is when they're 8 to 18, even beyond, but you can tell who they're hanging out with. If all of a sudden they're wearing all black and black, now you know what is happening. If all of a sudden they're super sporty and preppy, or they're you can go and see their friends, and you can see that very often they're in a whole crew of matching people, and we can visually watch what happens by association. And so that happens in this room, which is why we bring you the best people that we can, and you're some of the best people in the world. And we all get to hang out together, but it's also the world sees that too, right? If a police pulls over somebody that was doing something wrong and you're in the car, there's an association that happens, and it happens in the positive way too. When you're associated with this community and different people in the community, that brings about like what Michelle is about to do. Michelle is doing this big event, and she's bringing different experts on that now there's an authority by association of who's on her stage, right? So I just want you to start thinking about what are the ways you could leverage the association here with the Diva Network, or someone that you've met within this network, or somebody else, some organization, some brand that you already have, to create more authority, or to go in and go, you know what? I'm not leveraging that Justine says she does voice activation. I'm not leveraging that Lynn is a health expert. I'm not leveraging that Emily is a mindset coach who teaches trading, right? I'm not leveraging that Marita knows EFT. Maybe I could have her on my event, ask her a question. Do you get what I'm saying? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and wrap this little session so that we can go into the actual networking, because today's the wonderful day where you all glow up, and it is the most inexpensive glow up. You come out glowing after you start networking. Diva Summit. We've got it coming. We've got it coming. I love it. And since we have enough summit leaders, it could probably happen faster if we had more people running it and we didn't have JKN doing it all, because she is running a mini summit right now.
I will help you. I'm just offering a co-chair. Like, I really would love to do that.
Mm. Yeah, we need help in a lot of the logistics, all the tactical stuff. And we'd have you as a guest on the summit is what we'd most likely do. And yeah, anything's possible. But the main takeaway from this session, put it in the chat before we go on. I see all the people that want to help. It looks like a summit's coming faster, sooner than later. You all want to be on a Diva summit. Okay, I love it. Okay, I see this. And we do have enough people that know how to do it. All right, so let's see. What's your big takeaway, Marie? Collaboration. We want to leverage our connection. Diva Summit, yes. All right. What's your big takeaway before we go? From all the stories of connection, collaboration, everybody, proximity is power, leverage credibility, collaboration and heart, use your connections and use them in the right way, right? It's a rich well. It's a rich well. The one thing, your network is your net worth. I didn't even know you were here, Camille. I need to see your faces. All of you who are hiding out in the background. First of all, I'm so happy that you're here. And I understand that you're busy, but I love seeing your beautiful faces. This girl, Camille, and I, we get into trouble together. In a good way, in a good way. Yeah, in a good way. When we're together, yes. Dawn, great to see your face. Team, isn't it great to see their faces? Look at all these people. Marie, yeah, we love seeing your faces. Yes, Camille, Solani, collaboration and helping each other. Look at Claudia coming on. Yes, yes, give it up for these. Johnny, I was going to tell you I miss your face when I saw you text. Listen, community, so especially when we're online, yes, give us the gift of your face. Even if you're eating, I've gotten extensions put in my hair, on my head in terrible lighting, just because I want to show like, come on, let's be a tribe together. Thank you so much. Yeah, more than once I've done that. Give without expectation. That's right. So I want you to take whatever that one that bubbled up for you, because it's like when you go to a good talk, everybody hears something different. And this was a group panel, a group discussion and discovery on collaboration and connection. So whatever bubbled up for you, I want you to hold it this week, and especially as we go into the next meeting, and lead with that kind of intention of give without expectation, collaboration, helping each other. I've been thinking about this a lot. And really, I think the one thing that we need more than anything, more than a sales team, than AI, than funding, than anything, is a good community. Because a good community, it's like, how many of you remember the genie, or have you've seen a genie in the lamp? How many wishes do you get with a genie? 3. And you're not allowed to wish for what? Unlimited wishes, right? But a community, you are. It is a well. And if you stop looking at it like a surface exchange, look at how much Sheila has changed and how many more rooms she's gotten into, or Carissa over the past 2 years. Each of us, think of your own life. We're always changing, we're always growing. And so when you stay into community, not only are there more connections, resources, all of that, but as you change, as you evolve, and you're ready for that next level, that next wish, your community is the wellspring. If we do this right, it's the wellspring of unlimited resources, whether you need someone to dance with, someone to cry with, someone to do taxes with. Dancing, crying, taxes. Yeah, I know. I'd so much rather. Yeah, you need to know you want to do a lead magnet together. You want to launch a beauty brand. You want to get funding. You want to open something in Africa. You want to open another country. It's going to come from community, and everybody knows somebody. And so as we do this right, this is the one thing above everything else, because guess who knows about AI? Someone in the community. Guess who knows about crypto? Someone in the community. Guess who knows, fill in the blank. And who is it? Someone in the community. All right, very good. Okay, so we're gonna leave this room and we'll go to our other room that is pure networking. We've talked plenty about networking. So now we're going to get in and get into service, get into contribution, and really think, how can I serve the person in this room? If you're not a VIP member or a founding member, we invite you to run virtually to the person who invited you and say, let me into this community. I want to give, I want to receive, I want to find belonging and elevation as we rise together. All right. And the rest of you, will see you in the other room. All right. Lots of love. Come off mute and let me see how you're going to leave.
Thank
Bye, y'all.
you.
Love you guys.
Thanks, and thank you.
Thank you.
Go up.
Thank you.
Thank you for your